As we address the qualities of building a culture of trust, empathy, and resiliency, I would be remiss to not acknowledge the current challenges we are experiencing throughout the world today. Many of us are grieving, many of us are scared, many of us are angry, many of us are not okay. It's okay to not be okay. This is a traumatic year, individually, collectively, nationally, globally. What we're experiencing is cultural trauma, and it will define our generation. As a culture designer, it would be irresponsible and insensitive of me not to contextualize what it means to build trust, empathy, and resiliency in our own culture, the American culture. If we are to heal as a country and find our path forward, we need to start having the uncomfortable conversations across every industry and every layer of society. To know where we are going, we must know where we have been and how we got here. We need to take a hard look in the mirror. Culture is the manifestation of collective consciousness of any social group, a neighborhood, an organization, a country, any community of any population size or scale. Culture manifests through values, beliefs, and activity guided through shared assumptions and group norms. It is shaped by the ideas we share, the stories we tell, and behaviors we observe that influence how we think, feel, and act. When you consider we are collectively experiencing trauma, each one of us at varying degrees, it will affect us culturally and impact how we socially evolve. But our fate is not predetermined. It is within our control. Contrary to popular belief, culture is very tangible. It can be designed or engineered. It can be measured and evaluated, and its evolutionary course can be designed, influenced, and directed. Culture consists of our mental models and action logics. It is how we process information and make decisions. It is the motivations and assumptions that influence our priorities and decisions, the choices we make, and the judgments we project based on the biases we hold. It is our mindsets and behaviors which are driven by the perceptions and the attitudes we hold, and the actions we take as a result, or our inactions. These perceptions and attitudes are influenced and perpetuated by our emotional and physical environments, which impact how we think and feel. And the stories and legends we share among our tribe. It is the memes that shape our thoughts, our values, and our beliefs, consciously and subconsciously. Which in turn influences our tribal rituals and the symbols we honor, our traditions, and our heritage. It is our practices and artifacts that connect us to our sense of identity. It is our sense of identity that align us to a purpose and defines who we are, why we exist, and what we care about. These are the attributes and drivers of cultural psychology. And it is our cultural psychology that will determine how we cultivate relationships, form social bonds, and create experiences among our tribes that define the culture of a community and our ability to live up to the aspirations of our ideals, to live our truth, or to institutionalize the preservation of legacy. Our abilities to live up to our aspirations and build resiliency resides in our cultural competency, our ability to understand, communicate, and relate to each other. When developing new strategies, reforming policy, or setting a new vision, the first questions should be, is our culture capable of achieving our goals? And are we co-creating and including all stakeholders in the design and execution of our strategy? Answering these questions in advance can mean the difference between success or failure, and in many cases, very costly failures, economically and politically, mentally and physically, and sometimes existentially. And if leadership is inauthentic and does not put into practice the guiding principles needed to realize our vision, then trust and ultimately change will not be possible. To create resilient and thriving communities, people must be provided equity, opportunity, and the resources, support, and infrastructure to do so, establishing both individual and collective agency. Systemically assessing needs and priorities is essential to sustainably building a culture that instills trust, establishes agency, and builds resiliency. By understanding the current state of a community's cultural competency, we can identify the gaps that must be closed to evolve toward our aspirational future, to realize our vision. There are four primary disciplines that define and shape a culture: how we innovate and execute new ideas and strategies, how we communicate and educate our tribes and communities, how we govern and operationalize new systems and processes, and how we lead and reward and recognize behaviors. These four disciplines make up our entire world order at every level and at every scale of society. Sometimes we are successful, and other times we are not. If we are to thrive, we must reassess our goals and priorities to sustain our future. Because when effective, this is how we bring identity and common purpose to life in a collaborative way through our relationships and shared experiences. It is how we bond and unite and build resilient and sustainable communities. Culture transcends physical proximity and limitations. And in our socially connected digital world, we have eliminated the physical boundaries that once confined culture geographically altogether. Our social networks have expanded and our world has gotten smaller, providing the infrastructure to share and spread our ideas unlike any time in human history, enabling and accelerating our abilities to drive collective action or to tear us apart. A united people and thriving culture emerge from trusting relationships and shared experiences. How we relate to each other and the experiences we create between each other determines how trust builds or erodes. It will determine who will become welcomed and nurtured among our tribe, and who will be discriminated, outcasted, or ostracized, who we will dignify. Polarized beliefs and perceptions are major variables that cause the erosion of trust. As polarization increases throughout a community, it leads to an increase in cultural entropy. This means that people begin to either distance from each other or combat each other, as the ability to share and execute a common vision, communicate and collaborate effectively, validate ideas and decisions, and reach consensus to collectively act becomes hindered and increasingly challenging. As cultural entropy intensifies, it can lead to revolution, war, or civil collapse. Media fragmentation and the misinformation and disinformation pandemic has created a world of microcultures and echo chambers, disparately distributed geographically and ideologically, making it harder and harder to align to a shared vision, a unified mission, a common purpose, a common truth. We are now navigating a fragmented reality. We would be lying to ourselves if we said we know for certain what tomorrow will bring, for these are uncertain times. We are all struggling, looking for answers. Answers from some source of credible authority. We are seeking leadership and we are seeking guidance. We are seeking truth. Truth is the interpretation of facts. Innovative research and science are needed more than ever. Knowledge and wisdom are needed more than ever. You are needed more than ever. We need to better understand each other, our needs, and the influencers of our social evolution, to usher us from the darkness into the light, to provide us with hope and ensure us that tomorrow will be a brighter day. Businesses are now expected to get back to normal, a new normal, to hire back their employees and open up the door to their customers who are just waiting to spend the money they no longer have. And employees are expected to get back to business, suppressing their trauma and fear for their health and safety, to teach their children, care for their loved ones, be a supportive spouse, put food on the table, try to keep a roof over their heads, and produce at maximum levels to deliver on a fabricated V curve to keep stock prices high, all while assuming an unwavering consumer confidence to open up the economy. Open up the economy. Such poor framing. We're trying to open up civilization. We have a history of putting the economy before humanity, business before people, money before well-being. We must first open up our hearts. We must first open up humanity. We must first establish trust. Trust that we are actually going to be cared for. Trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship. It is foundational to cultivate any thriving community, any thriving organization, any thriving society, of any thriving civilization. It is our culture which will determine our collective success. A healthy culture creates the environment that empowers people to thrive. An inclusive and equitable community built on trust provides the nutrients for growth and prosperity. It is how we collaborate, co-create, validate our ideas, and carve a path forward together. It is how we find common purpose and facilitate collective action. The greatest insight of all is understanding why and how someone thinks, feels, and reacts based on how one communicates and engages them. This is empathy. To build trust, we must be empathetic to one's needs and expectations from the relationship, to engage in a way that people feel confident and secure in the relationship, which is then evaluated by the experiences you deliver within the relationship. To build empathy, we must see the world through each other's eyes. Seeing the world through the eyes of another shows you care and that you're committed to and value the relationship. We need to be empathetic to what each and every one of us has experienced is experiencing, and will experience. We need to trust that we're going to be okay, a trust and hope. We need to feel cared for, that our community and peers are there for us as we are for them. We need compassion and understanding for both our individual needs as well as our collective needs. We need a sense of belonging. We need to feel safe. We each have personal needs, values, beliefs, and emotions that affect how we think, feel, and behave in varying situations and environments. To facilitate collective action, to achieve a common goal, we must meet people where they are and engage them at a personal level. How we lead and interact with each other will shape our mindsets and behaviors. Thriving cultures are built on trust, belonging, collaboration, and alignment. It's having a common purpose aligned to a shared vision for a future we are designing together, embracing our diversity, cultivating inclusive communities, building authentic relationships, inspiring, empowering, and providing opportunity for all of us to thrive, to be our best selves, and building prosperity together. We are stronger together. That's what builds our resiliency. Yes, the world as we know it has changed, but it has always changed, and it will keep changing. It will keep evolving. Just because something is does not mean it will be. Progress is not a linear trajectory, but a dynamic state of constant change. Resiliency means thriving amid change. How agile and adaptable we are to the future unfolding before us will determine our resiliency and our ability to secure a sustainable future. Throughout the course of human history, we have overcome great adversity. Our hope, our passion, and our vision of a brighter future has inspired us to sail uncharted waters, to confront life's greatest challenges by acquiring the skills, the knowledge, and community to shape our future and create our destiny, to innovate and evolve civilizations that improve with each passing generation, to find our purpose and fulfill our dreams. No one has all the answers, but together we have the solution. We cannot change the past, but we can create the future. We need your experience. We need your expertise. We need your leadership. It is the moral imperative of the enlightened to shepherd the ignorant. We need you to light that path forward. Help us seek the truth. Help us better understand each other, to focus on what matters, to live our best lives. We need your help to assess the cultural nuances and complexities, to provide the insights needed for empathic engagement strategies, to bridge that which divides us, to build trust, to enable well-being, to be resilient. Be a Sherpa, guide us from the dusk of the evening to the dawn of the morning, so that together we can focus on what matters most and create a better tomorrow. And ask yourself, what is your purpose? What matters to you?